Story 1. I only know the tribute to the greatest song in the world. I wish I had been there when it was played. Story 2. Time by Pink Floyd. Those lyrics succinctly describe the human condition and the importance of taking control of your own life. No one told you when to run, you missed the starting gun. Story 3. God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. The arrangement is beautiful, the lyrics are beautiful, the harmonies are beautiful. They just cannot be beat in my mind. To start a love song with, I may not always love you, almost seems like Brian Wilson and Tony Asher turned a dare into a masterpiece. Story 4. Tangled Up in Blue by Bob Dylan. I know it will not be everyone's favorite, but it is my choice for best song of all time. Story 5. I have to nominate Stand By Me. The reason is that no matter where you sing it, anywhere in the world, someone will always sing it with you. Story 6. There are too many to pick just one, but I will include God Only Knows by the Beach Boys in the discussion. Story 7. I'm going with Blackbird by the Beatles. Did you know it was a tribute to the civil rights movement in the United States? Story 8. Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. I have many favorite songs, but that one is far above the rest both lyrically and musically. I feel like I have never heard a bad rendition of it. Story 9. Comfortably Numb is a strong contender, an impossible question though since there is so much diversity even within a single genre. Story 10. What a Wonderful World. It has been covered many times in various ways, each capturing its own vibe. Louis Armstrong, Ramones, Israel Kamakawiwo'ole, Rod Stewart, Willie Nelson, Celine Dion, just to name a few. Story 11. My favorite song recently has been Make Damn Sure by Taking Back Sunday, but in the past it has been I Don't Love You or Helena, both by My Chemical Romance. Outside my own personal music taste, I would say Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce. Story 12. It's a tough call for me. A Lifetime Better Than Ezra. A girl dies on her graduation day, and her best friends steal her ashes to take to the beach. They remember her there, dancing to R.E.M.'s Perfect Circle, and how in that moment time seemed to stand still. Few songs bring me to tears, but this one does. A Jealousy Gin Blossoms. My mother died from complications due to alcoholism. Every time I listen to this song, it makes me think of how, after she had pushed away everyone who ever cared about her, she might have wished she could take it all back but couldn't. Hopkins's lyrics, along with the upbeat sound, are just so incredible. American Pie Don McLean. The way the song captures a singular moment in history is amazing. It speaks to how history and culture move ever onward, whether we like it or not. Story 13. Guys, I have to make an honorable mention. Smells Like Teen Spirit. I think my life changed the first time I heard that song. I know we do not listen to rock that much. However, yes, I know it is overrated. But I love it. Story 14. If song includes orchestral movements, I will take Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, Piano Sonata No. 14. If we are limiting it to modern popular songs, I will take Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. Setting aside my personal favorite song of all time, of course, because no one would even know what I am talking about. Story 15. Be My Baby by the Ronettes. A perfect combination of sound, emotion, and influence. Phil Spector's lush wall of sound and Ronnie Spector's soulful vocal made it unforgettable. The opening drum beat is iconic, and the universal lyrics about love are timeless. It inspired countless songs and artists such as the Beach Boys' Don't Worry Baby, Billy Joel's Say Goodbye to Hollywood, Amy Winehouse, and Bruce Springsteen. Decades later, it remains the blueprint for pop perfection. Story 16. Amazing Grace by John Newton. People will still be singing this hundreds of years from now. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Fourth Movement, timeless. Story 17. For me, nothing beats Everlong or Poor George, which is interesting because neither of those is my usual taste. Story 18. What happens when you combine the lyrical vision of Bob Dylan with the guitar virtuosity of Jimi Hendrix? Jimi Hendrix's recording of All Along the Watchtower. Story 19. I love the Disturbed cover of The Sound of Silence. I find it powerful and beautiful. However, I am not a musician and know little about music. Story 20. Free Bird to me is the greatest song. No, I am not joking, and yes, I am a 36-year-old certified old head. Story 21. Can't Get It Out of My Head by Electric Light Orchestra is among my favorites. However, my absolute personal favorite of all time is Everything's Coming Up Roses by Night Terrors of 1927. Story 22. Can't choose just one, but Beautiful Loser would be in my top picks. I'm biased because it really describes me when I was younger. I had no direction, wanted freedom, but longed for security. I made friends wherever I went and slept on a few couches. Story 23. The Sounds of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel features some of the most beautiful lyrics. Brothers and Our World by Paul Williams from Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. He wrote two completely different songs that fit together like perfect puzzle pieces. Amazing. Story 24. No, forget that, you get 10 songs. Talking Heads. This Must Be the Place. Guided by Voices, Game of Pricks. The Beatles, 8 Days a Week. The Stooges, TVI. Stevie Wonder, Golden Lady. Drive Like Rome Plows. Jawbox, Mirrorful. Badfinger, Baby Blue. Thin Lizzy, Cowboy Song. We'm Piss Up a Rope. Story 25. I Have a Couple. Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. And last but not least, Sarah by Bob Dylan. I just realized I am an old soul. Haha. Story 26. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry by Hank Williams. Have you ever seen a robin weep when leaves begin to fall? That means he has lost the will to live. I'm so lonesome I could cry. Story 27. I would probably say Ave Maria. Timeless. Classic. Instantly recognizable. Not polarizing. Simply the icon that it is. Story 28. I am going to draw fire here, but I would say Ode to Joy. It has definitely stood the test of time, and the question was not about the best modern song. Additionally, the composer was completely deaf when he wrote it, and it still resonates. Story 29. Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra. The subject is something everybody can relate to. It is uplifting, the tune is layered and beautiful, and it is the only song that uses a fire extinguisher as an instrument. Story 31. Amazing Grace. 2. Imagine. 3. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. 4. Hallelujah. 5. Tears in Heaven. Story 31. Greatest Pop Song. I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. Greatest Rock Ballad. A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum. Greatest Song Ever. Box Air on a G-String. Story 32. This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie. A subtle protest song written before protest songs became popular. Relevant to this day. Melodically, it is a great song. The chords are simple enough for anyone to play. Timeless. I love this song. Story 33. I'm going with A Hard Day's Night. Hear me out. I suggest that the best song of all time would be written by the best songwriters of all time and performed by the best band of all time. That would be the Beatles doing a Lennon/McCartney composition. How do you select from the Beatles' greatest songs? I wanted something representative of a true Lennon/McCartney collaboration, which became rarer over the course of their career as one or the other predominated. You would also want the performance to include notable contributions from the other Beatles. A Day in the Life is a soaring true collaboration of Lennon and McCartney, and Ringo's drumming is epic, but George hardly seems present. Still, it is among the greatest Beatles songs. However, A Hard Day's Night has a great, tight Harrison guitar solo, and Ringo rocks out on drums, tambourine, bongos, and cowbell. The song starts with a bang with a chord so distinctive that musicians argued about how it was played more than 50 years after it was recorded. The lead vocals trade off between John and Paul and also feature tight group harmonies. Finally, it captures the joy and enthusiasm of an era of new beginnings and seemingly infinite promise and possibilities. Story 34. Pictures of You, The Cure. So many songs to choose from, but this song absolutely takes me away. The dreamy feel of it, together with the words and Robert Smith's voice. Story 35. I cannot pick one song, so I have a small list. Metal 1 by Metallica. Pop, You Can Call Me Al by Paul Simon. Soul and Rhythm and Blues, Green Onions by Booker T. and the MGs. Rock, Place for My Head by Linkin Park. Rap, Express Yourself by Niggas with Attitudes. Orchestral, The Firebird by Igor Stravinsky. Story 36, Pompeii by Bastille. Some people might think it is a little overdramatic or cheesy, but I just feel like it is very relevant all the time. Life is always so crazy, with so much insane stuff happening constantly. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing has changed at all? Story 37, Imagine by John Lennon. We genuinely need to come together as a species. Borders, greed, and bigotry, ignorance and intolerance keep us from unifying mankind. Not that I know what we would even do if we managed that. Story 38. For me, my heart would say Mayonnaise by Smashing Pumpkins, but my head would say something more obvious like More Than a Feeling by Boston, Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys, or Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Honorable mention to New Year's Day by U2 and Dreams by the Cranberries. Story 39. Telephone by Electric Light Orchestra and Forever Autumn, performed by Justin Hayward from the War of the Worlds soundtrack. Story 40. Still Loving You by Scorpions is a perfect song in my opinion, and every single tiny detail is absolutely top-notch. Every cover I have ever heard of it just falls completely flat for me. It is perfectly sung and perfectly played on the drums and guitar. Just beautiful. Story 41. Teardrop by Massive Attack is a great song. But what a question. Bohemian Rhapsody was so good, it was included in my high school music curriculum. There are far too many songs in the world to answer this question. It is also very subjective. It is probably Beethoven or something similar if you are thinking sociologically or anthropologically. Story 42. I truly believe there is no best song of all time. There is only the best song of the moment. Every moment is different, and there are too many moments to define what the best song could be. Likewise, there are too many songs to consider which one is best. Of course, everyone has different tastes as well. Swan Lake Act 2 Number 10 by Tchaikovsky. It is hard to say this is a conventional song, as it is part of a ballet composition, but it is beautiful. Story 43. Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. Story 44. In My Life by the Beatles is a great song. I had to add it since I did not see it in the list. Story 45. Right now, I think it is For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica, but who knows? Tomorrow, it could be Scared by the Tragically Hip or 80 by Green Day. Story 46. Bohemian Rhapsody is the best because it is timeless, transcends genres, and has an unrivaled emotional impact. There is no song like it. Story 47. Answers from Final Fantasy XIV perfectly describes humanity. This is the tale of our existence. We have achieved peak artistry with this one. Story 48. Poisoning Pigeons in the Park. Tom Lehrer was one of the greatest musical satirists ever. This song is silly, harmless, and yet still manages to shock people. It may have only gotten Weird Al Yankovic laid, but it inspired several generations of punk irreverence. Not many songs have that punch. Story 49. This is hard. Not just saying it to be a contrarian with a common answered band's other tracks, but No Quarter by Led Zeppelin is my favorite song of all time. I think it's the perfect song. Honorable mentions: Tunnel of Love, Dire Straits, Love Spreads, The Stone Roses, You and Whose Army, Radiohead, also Jigsaw, Green Onions, Booker T, and the MGs, Shine on You, Crazy Diamond, Pink Floyd, Stairway to Heaven, obviously, Respiration and Fourth Chamber in the hip-hop realm. Story 50. Best will always be subjective, but as a fan of both classical music and heavy metal, I firmly believe that metal is an extreme evolution of classical music. The song The Drapery Falls by Opeth highlights this perfectly, and is my top pick for the greatest musical achievement since the days of Beethoven, Bach, Tchaikovsky, and Chopin. Story 51. Black Grape, Kelly's Heroes. Name a better lyric than Jesus was a black man. Jesus was Batman. No, that was Bruce Wayne. Story 52. As far as rock and pop are concerned, I have narrowed it down to Sweet Jane by the Velvet Underground or Waterfall by the Stone Roses. Story 53. Misirlou as played by Hawaii Samurai. It is the only song that I am always in the mood to listen to. Story 54. A Change Is Gonna Come, Sam Cooke. Cornflake Girl Tori Amos. Never Let Me Down Again Depeche Mode. Story 55. It is hard to say the best song, but if there is one album that should be sent to space for future aliens or civilizations to hear, I think it is Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Story 56. Truly? Story 57. April Come She Will by Simon and Garfunkel is possibly the most beautiful song I have ever heard. Perfect and succinct. Story 58. I Will Go to My Grave Insisting That Me and Your Daughter by Natalie Portman's Shaved Head is one of the most obscure and unknown great songs that the world somehow let pass by. It is 15 years old, has 12,000 views on YouTube, and features one of the most toe-tappingly satisfying beats you have ever heard. Story 59. I do not know enough to cite the correct piece, but it is probably something by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Ludwig van Beethoven, or Johann Sebastian Bach. Story 60. Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, Opus 9, No. 2. There are videos with this piece on repeat, paired with a rainy mood for 10 hours. It is beautiful. Another great rainy mood pairing is The Fragrance of Dark Coffee, edited to add, Drunk on the Moon by Tom Waits or anything by Tom Waits really. Story 61. A few options for me that I have not seen mentioned elsewhere. A Change Is Gonna Come, Sam Cooke. Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Let's Dance, David Bowie. Far Away, Jose Gonzalez. Tom's Diner, Suzanne Vega. DNA Remix for bonus points. Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, Roberta Flack. There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, The Smiths. Dr. Wu, Steely Dan. Way Down in the Hole, Tom Waits. I Am the Highway, Audioslave. And a personal pick, maybe my favorite song ever, Levia Leviaquez, The Mars Volta. Story 62. I do not. Completely depends on the genre. For example, I cannot say what the best video game is because you cannot say that the best role-playing game is better than the best rhythm game since they are completely different. Story 63. My personal favorite has to be Roundabout by Yes. It is not another sappy love song similar to those that characterized the 1970s rock era. It is a song that tells an entire story over its course and makes it feel like you are in a movie. The solo guitar tunes in the song are brilliant and accentuate the dynamic moods of the piece. It is truly a brilliant song. Story 64. Baby Got Back is very popular. You can hear it coming from people's cars. It remains popular and is guaranteed to be played every karaoke night. It is the most popular song the planet has ever had. Story 65. On one hand, this is a ridiculous question with no right or wrong answer. On the other hand, 90% of you have tragically bad taste in music. To anyone who answered with Beatles, Beach Boys, Dylan, I tip my hat to you. To the many offerings of Bowie, Floyd, Stones, and others, happy to know you. To user Spicy Sanger, you, my friend, know what is up. Story 66. Simple Man by Lynyrd Skynyrd. When the guitar hits 1 minute in, I always think, why do you have to go so hard on the riff? Great message. Story 67. Paint It Black, The Rolling Stones. I loved it when I first heard it at 9 years old while my dad was watching Tour of Duty on television. I loved it when I was a teenager really into punk and metal, and I still love it now that I am 40 years old. Story 68. For me, it is a song that tells a story, with a distinct build-up, tension, and release. Hallowed Be Thy Name by Iron Maiden is that song. Story 69. Overture 1812 by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. As a metal enthusiast, I love that this classical piece builds up to a powerful finale. It is incredible. Story 70. I am into alternative and independent rock, but the best song of all time is Sailing by Christopher Cross. It is beautifully constructed and sounds amazing. Story 71. Blinding Lights, The Weeknd. I hate that I am this basic, but this song remains a jam, and my brain tells me it has been for decades. It is impossible, but it feels true. Story 72. I never understood how people can narrow it down to one song as their favorite song ever. I can't have a favorite song now, but never ever. Story 73. Because others have already suggested my top two songs, Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen and Silver Springs by Fleetwood Mac. Allow me to add this one, Hurt by Johnny Cash, with an honorable mention for Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks. If I were locked in a padded cell for the rest of my life with any of those tracks playing on a loop, I would not be mad about it. Story 74. Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower was so good that when Bob Dylan heard it, he said, "That's Jimmy's song now." Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.